Okay, we are now recording.
All right, so welcome. This is the Amherst Energy and Climate Action Committee. ECAC was organized to help the town in meeting its climate and resilience goals. Those goals and the plan for getting there are adopted from the CARP, the Climate Action Adaptation and Resilience Plan, which was accepted by the town council in 2021. It takes 2016 as its base year and calls for a 25% carbon emission reduction by 2025, 50% by 2030, and carbon neutrality by 2050. So this committee has two functions. This is my before every meeting reminder. One is to advise the town council and recommend or propose policies or actions that will help us meet those climate goals. And the other is to promote a just, equitable, and speedy climate response through outreach and engagement. So advice and outreach and engagement, those are the two things we do. So with that, we're now ready to start. The first thing we always do is review and vote on the minutes. Now, Stephanie, I just sent you, there was one part of the
Yep,
minutes that I was a little confused about.
I saw. Are you going to share or do you want me to?
I can share it,
Okay,
unless you want to, since you have the final version. Why don't you go ahead and share it?
now that you said that.
Oh, I can do it if you don't have it up. I have it right here. I'll do it since I have it quick.
Yeah, I don't have the right one open right now.
Okay, so let me go ahead and just share this. And then I have to get you guys back where I can see you. And I'm gonna put the screen sharing thing disappears if I'm not careful. There we go.
We have it. We can see
Okay,
it.
good. You can see it. And I can kill it if I need to, I hope. Yes. Okay, so these are the minutes from last time. I was a little confused. I think Tony, were you taking notes
I
about
did.
this section here? I wasn't sure what the council resolution for Bill was. Did we talk about a council resolution? I'm just trying to
I
remember.
honestly cannot remember.
So you did talk about drafting a resolution.
That might be what that meant to say.
So if you're drafting a resolution, you were drafting it for the council to submit to the council. And that was my
Okay,
understanding during the meeting as well.
Yes, that's also how I wrote the letter.
okay, so then why don't we leave that statement in here? Let me undo this, Stephanie. Let's put this back to regular font then. I just had forgotten about that. But then that got convolved with approving the op-ed. So I just suggested making a couple changes to adding potholes, op-ed submission, potholes and climate change, which had already been submitted to the Gazette and was published. I was going to suggest replacing this last bit here with ECAC reviewed shortened versions of the opinion letter submitted to the Gazette. These versions with small changes were approved by a vote. That should be vote of 600, moved by McElrath and seconded by Roof.
Yeah, I'll put it in the format though that I usually do for votes.
Okay, that's fine. Because the op-ed letter and the resolution, it was all getting convolved and I couldn't tell which was which. So, yeah, something like that. And then other than that, I don't think I had any. I'll leave that up, but and then go slowly through it. Ideally, everybody reads these beforehand and comes with their changes, and usually we just approve them with minor things. Let's go away. Should I keep scrolling down? A little bit more. The rest of this I thought was fine. The various letters and testimony have all been submitted. I submitted the shortened op-eds last night. I don't think the one to the Boston Globe is going to get published. They like things that are responding to their news articles, which this does not necessarily. The Republican in Springfield might publish it. They promised to send me a note if they're going to do that. We shall see. I must have written about 6 times that I am submitting this, but this is coming from, written by ECAC. Boston Globe, most papers require somebody that they have a specific person as a contact. And I forgot to ask for a note taker. We get I know most of you, we've been running on a small group all summer, so most of you have done it recently, and it's Emily's first full meeting, I think, so I'd rather not ask Emily, so. And Tony did it last time, so Steve or Andrew?
I can do it.
Thank you, Steve. So as soon as you've read it and think that no further changes are needed, somebody needs to move to approve the minutes, and then we need a second.
As amended.
Hmm?
Approve the minutes as amended. Should be
As
the
amended,
motion.
as amended, right?
I move to approve them as amended.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, then I stop sharing.
Okay, and via voice vote, please make sure your microphone is unmuted. Roof,
Yes.
Goldner,
Yes.
McElrath,
Yes.
Dore,
Yeah.
Dor, I'm sorry,
Door.
Dor, Leinung,
Yes.
minutes are approved.
That was 5-0,
And-
right? 5-0.
Yes. And Lori, can you send me your amended copy?
Okay, I can do that. The only
If
thing
not, I can also watch the recording, so it's okay if you
yeah,
can't.
the only thing I did was unstrike out this line here.
Okay,
But I will, other than what I sent you before, but I will go ahead and send this, not right now, I'll send it right afterwards.
All right.
Oh, sorry, this line, you can't see it anymore. I'll send it to you afterwards. Okay, so we don't seem to have any attendees, so there's no need for public comment right now. What? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong day. I have the wrong agenda up. Let me just give me a second, guys, and I'll get the right agenda up. Okay, there we go. So Don was going to do an overview of the smart solar bill, but he is not here today. So the next thing on the agenda is a review of the draft letter that Tony put together and just got sent to us right before this meeting. So let's have a look at that. Tony, you wanna take it from here? You can share it, or I can share it. Tony?
Yes, you can share it. That'd be great. I'm
Okay.
wrangling my niece right now.
Okay, I'll share it. Let me do that. Hang on a minute. Share. Check letter.
The
Just-
context I used when constructing the letter was the CARP, just because I felt like it was necessary for the letter to have a little bit of like direction and result oriented action within it, rather than just asking for a bill we all know is beneficial. I wanted to make a few points of how its passing would be beneficial on a local level.
Right. Right, okay.
The biggest thing is probably cutting it. It's like a little bit over one. It's like a little over 1 page, so we might want to cut some things out.
For stuff like this, it's going to be testimony. It's okay if it's a little long. If it includes facts that you want to be sure to include. The testimony we've been doing so far has been pretty short and sweet because we've just been trying to get our 2 cents in, right? But it's fairly normal to provide long testimony with lots of facts in it. So I haven't read this yet, so why don't we, and I think we probably shouldn't finalize it this week because it is long. But let's talk about it a little bit and see where we want to go with it.
Take notes on feedback so that when I look back over it, I can apply.
Should we do a dramatic reading? You want to read it out loud?
Sure.
Go ahead.
On behalf of the Town of Amherst Energy and Climate Action Committee, we urge you to pass the Make Polluters Pay Act. I will not read the bill this session. Amherst has committed to reducing emissions by 25% by 2025, 50% by 2030, and achieving carbon neutrality by 2050. We have adopted a climate action adaptation and resilience plan to guide us, but our town cannot carry the financial burden of climate damages alone. Amherst is already experiencing the effects of climate change. In 2023, floods cost $39 million in infrastructure damage across Western Massachusetts. Our own community faces recurring threats from flooding, extreme heat, and severe storms, all of which strain local budgets that are already stretched thin. Across Massachusetts, towns on average have only about $5,000 set aside for disaster response each year, a figure that underscores just how unprepared local governments are to handling the mounting costs of climate change. Amherst is no exception. When disasters strike, every unexpected expense diverts resources from schools, housing, and public health. Right now, taxpayers are paying the costs of a crisis created by fossil fuel corporations. Residents are paying higher insurance premiums to cover losses from storms and fires, higher grocery bills when heat or drought affect crops, and higher taxes when municipalities are forced to repair roads, bridges, and other infrastructure damaged by extreme weather. Meanwhile, the corporations most responsible for historic emissions continue to profit. This is not fair and it is not sustainable. The Make Polluters Pay Act offers a fair and effective solution by creating a $75 billion climate super fund financed by fees on the largest fossil fuel companies. This legislation would provide essential funding. Lori, if you could scroll, that'd be great.
Sorry, I was
For
trying to take
climate-
some notes and I lost track.
No worries. No worries. For climate resilience, it ensures costs are paid from corporate profits, not from residents' pockets. At least 40% of the fund will go to environmental justice communities, and the remainder will support infrastructure upgrades, public health protections, and the transition to clean energy across Massachusetts. This is exactly the kind of support towns like Amherst need to meet our climate goals and protect our residents. Amherst has been clear about its priorities. We need funding to upgrade our stormwater system so our neighborhoods and the University of Massachusetts campus are protected from increasingly frequent floods. We need support from retrofitting and electrifying our aging multifamily housing so that renters and low-income households are not left behind as we transition away from fossil fuels. We need cooling centers and shaded public spaces so that our seniors, children, and students stay safe during heat waves. We need resilient electrical and transit systems that keep our community functioning during severe storms. And we need support for health protections, including preventative care and treatment for heat-related illnesses and asthma, which are worsened by climate change. These needs are urgent and the costs are already mounting. Amherst is leading locally with a clear plan for action, but our ability to deliver depends on state support. The principle behind this legislation is simple. The corporations that caused the crisis should be held accountable to help fix it. Our residents and taxpayers cannot continue to foot the bill while polluters profit. We urge you to pass the Make Polluters Pay Act this session. This legislation is essential for Amherst to achieve its adopted climate goals and to protect the well-being of our residents, our infrastructure, and our future. Respectfully, ECAC.
So my initial reaction is this is very good. I have a couple of
Agreed.
small things I wanted to talk about, but the only real redundancy I see is saying a couple times that, but I think it's probably worth it, that the town can't fire the damages alone. It's no fair that polluters make money while we have to pay.
Yeah.
I think you say that twice, but I would be in favor of just leaving that.
I will say grammatically, the sentence, the second sentence of the first paragraph, Amherst has committed to reducing emissions. I would switch by, I often write in Portuguese, so sometimes my translations aren't as smooth as English. So emissions by 25% by 2025. I'm missing a
by
word there.
Just put a by.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. The only thing I was wondering about myself, I should say, does anyone else have questions, concerns?
that number, if you're looking at the number for
Yeah.
the Massachusetts statewide disaster funds, I got that doing a little bit of research. A few other towns that have made points of advocating on behalf of this bill also pointed that out in some of their letters.
Nice.
So I thought it'd be cohesive to have us as
Yeah.
also a local community in Massachusetts point out that same.
What does Amherst have set aside?
I don't, that's not a figure I have at the top of my head.
If we have a number, I would be in favor of using the Amherst town number.
I
just
would
because
as well.
that's- Yeah,
I'll ask.
Keep it local.
okay, yeah.
I'll see if I can find that.
I can't imagine that a town could put aside a whole lot for that. I mean, they might. Yeah. Just can't imagine that's something that shows up as a line item in the budget.
So when we say disaster response, just like any particular disaster, like a comet hitting or what do we mean by disaster response?
It's a good question.
I think it's climate disaster response.
Climate disaster,
Climate
specifically.
related. Yeah.
Okay, we should put that in.
Storm damage or something like that, maybe. Would be
Right.
Interesting.
We should specify that because like I imagine like a fire breaking out is, you know, I don't know if we have a budget line item for that, but the fire department takes care of that, or I don't know.
I mean, I imagine that we could even put in numbers that are shockingly large, like, how much does Amherst spend fixing potholes, fixing storm damage every year, to roads and infrastructure. It might be larger than that. It might be money that's included in budgets of operating budgets, right, of different. But I wonder-
It's I think a trend, like I don't know, maybe it's hard to separate that from just like, yes, we need to fix roads every year, climate change or not. Climate change makes it worse,
Yeah,
but so does inflation. I think it's hard to disambiguate
right.
that number.
So I think Stephanie will task you with just figuring out what you can about how the town budgets for and what it budgets for what you might call, extra climate-driven disaster.
I know there's there are reserves but I don't know if the reserves are specifically for disaster relief. So I'll find out.
Yeah,
Yeah, like what do we do if a tornado hits the center of town? Like, is that something that we would use town funds for? Or then we would probably petition the state for like, hey, this is a crazy event that happened. We need help. I don't know how it works. I don't know what our policy is.
in the past, you might call FEMA.
I'm gonna say usually there's, for those kinds of things, typically there's more federal disaster response funds
Yeah.
that are supplied to communities if it's something that big.
Right, which is why I'm confused. Like, what does it mean to have disaster response like funds? I'm not sure what that means as a citizen.
Okay, there's a category. I'm looking at the FY25 budget book, and right now there's the reserve type is called free cash, and it says purpose emergencies. And it's $4,672,896. It's 5% of the budget, the town budget.
Yeah, so it's hard to.
That's
That's what I want. So what does that $5,000
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I'm not
You
sure
know-
that's a big metric.
So other towns don't have free cash? Is that or just
They
they just
may-
budget it differently?
They may not have it. I think this is partly maybe tax-based revenue related, once all of the funds are allocated. So I'm not really sure what free cash is from exactly, but
Mhm.
it says the purpose is emergencies.
And how
So-
does emergency differ, or is it different from disaster relief, or is that?
Well,
just
I think
incorrect?
emergencies are emergencies. I would say disaster relief is an emergency. So
Stuff that comes up during the year.
yeah, so and I live in a very small town. So I can assure you that we're a community that probably has more on the order of
Yeah.
5,000 set aside and not
Yeah.
very
Right.
much. So, I think Amherst also has, we have a high tax rate.
Yeah, like one of the
So, and
highest.
to
one of the-
provide services, so
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
this type of thing. So,
Yeah. But it's also one of the highest tax rates in the state, and we can't even seem to fix our own roads, right? So what does that mean that we have 4.6 million set aside for emergencies?
That is definitely a larger topic of discussion.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a different number. We need something in there.
We might not have like a specific, I don't know. So Tony, when you talk to these other people writing these letters from other towns, what did they say? Like they just said like, yeah, we have like $5,000 and we're not prepared. Like, is there more? Is that like
There was not
that's
more information from
okay? Yeah,
the articles they wrote, but I am taking note. I could also word it or frame it so that we just need a little bit more clarity on, or like a direct allocated amount specific to climate disasters as opposed to having a what is it called, free cash
we
account.
Right.
don't have anything that's specifically allocated for climate related
So
disasters.
maybe the
I
bill
just,
could help us make one.
yeah.
Sorry.
What I can say is, so just so you all are aware, I'm just reading from the budget book. The town's policy is to maintain a reserve balance of 5% of the operating budget in free cash at all times.
Yeah.
This emergency fund is the highest priority. The next priority is to maintain a balance of 10% of the operating budget in general stabilization fund. This policy goal is based on the amount of funding needed to sustain the town budget for 2 to 3 years in the event of an economic downturn. So that first priority is again for emergency response.
Do we have any idea how that has been spent in the past, that emergency response line?
I mean, I don't, again, I think it's in reserve for, I'm thinking about when we had that 5-day power outage during a storm event and emergency personnel were pretty much working around the clock. So my guess is it's probably paying salaries, equipment,
Yeah.
fuel, so again, that's why
Maybe-
it's set aside.
Maybe that's a better way to phrase this is, what does it cost in the event of something like that October storm of some years ago now? I had no power for 10 days. What does it
Wow.
cost per day to keep the town running, to clear the roads, I'd be curious to know. I wonder if we can get some idea of what a single day of, what does one snowstorm cost, right?
So yeah, I would say, maybe we could find out what a snowstorm costs, but
Right.
again, it's going to be a myriad of factors. What kind of snow is it? When does it happen? The time of
Yeah.
year. So I don't think you have like a blanket, like any one particular event looks like this.
Right.
So I can look into if you're looking to try to find some more information, but I don't think you're going to get at that specific. I
Yeah,
think
okay.
what, I would think of is if you're writing this letter in support of Make Polluters Pay, and it supports municipalities across the state, not just Amherst. So you're advocating for something that's for the state. I mean, finding that figure, that $5,000 set aside for
Yeah.
the average community might be an okay thing to state. I mean, we're maybe an anomaly. So not all
Yeah,
communities, I would bet Cambridge, Mass has probably got a lot of funding.
Yeah.
Boston has a lot of funding. We have a high tax base, so we have funding that we have set aside for these purposes, but a lot of communities don't. So
Yeah.
maybe that's not a bad thing to advocate for and state that number. So
My only concern with stating a specific number like that is, as a scientist, I'd want to know where it comes from. And saying that somebody else used it is worrisome. I don't know where that's coming from, right? Is that if
Mhm.
there's a reference for that number, I think it's fine. If it's just in somebody else's letter, I'm a little worried about it. You understand, Tony?
I think I can find that reference. If I do, I'll send it.
Yeah, if there's something like that, then I
Actually
think
an
that's
article
fine. Then let's use
or
it.
data
And
set.
could I also make a suggestion that maybe you don't have to have a specific number, but just talk about that most communities are really strapped
We're
for
strapped.
being able to respond. And federal dollars, we're not going to have the kind of federal disaster support that we've had in the past. So,
Mhm.
those, I think all of those points, you don't need to have a specific
Yes.
number. It's just the reality of where we are.
Yeah.
It's a great letter, Tony, by the way.
Yeah, I
I
think
just
it's
wanted to
great.
add my 2
Agreed.
cents.
That's the only thing. The rest of it, I think, is just great.
Specifics are always the thing that require the most clarity. So
Yeah.
I understand.
I liked the poetry of this comes out of corporate profits, not residents' pockets. I like that.
Yeah.
That just rings very
Thanks.
nicely. Yeah,
Had some fun writing it.
What was that?
good alliteration.
Use profit. Was that at the beginning? Where was that? That was good.
It's in the middle somewhere. I think just look for pockets.
Don't do it.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Climate resilience, it ensures the costs are paid from corporate profits, not from residents' pockets. Ah, that is good.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think when we do stuff like that, Lynn Griesemer contacted me this week about getting copies of our statements and that we've been making. We should probably send her a copy as well. I don't think there's any problem with ECAC doing this sort of thing, but we should keep the town council informed.
You're just a reminder that you are appointed by the town manager, so you want to be sending it to the town manager,
Town
who would
manager,
then
okay.
send it to the town council. So really your
That's right.
correspondence should go to him.
Okay, that's right. Thank you. We should have done that with this last stuff. I did not do that yet. So as far as I know, the town manager has not seen it yet. So we should send that to him. And this was also the topic that I think I was probably going to contact, or we were going to write or write some sort of a statement. I think I'll use this, Tony, if that's okay, and maybe
Mhm.
write some sort of statement for the town council, or maybe even just send them this indicating that we have, this is for the manager and the council to consider writing their own statement in the way of testimony for this bill.
Great.
Although I don't think there's an actual, when these bills come up for review, there's usually a period in which you can provide specific testimony, and I don't think I've seen that yet for this bill, these bills. There's a very loud barred owl outside my window. I don't know if it's being picked up on.
A little bit. Oh,
All right, so I'm going to suggest we come back to this again next week with a little more information and just think a little bit about it, and then we'll finalize it next week or 2 weeks from now. Is that okay, Tony?
that sounds great. I'll do some digging, see if I can backtrack that number to its source.
And then Stephanie will see what she can come up with, and right. I think this is great, especially since there's no deadline yet. And I think since there's no testimony deadline, I'll figure out who to address this to. There's probably some committee members and Joe and Mindy that it needs to go to.
Okay, great.
All right. We okay with that? Stop
Yes.
share. All right, so next week we will talk more about that and vote on it. Okay, education and outreach, Don is not here. Tony, got anything else for coordination with local groups?
With Elevate, I talked to Zoe, they're open to doing a Thursday anytime this semester, so. Another in-person open discussion meeting on a Thursday. I believe Zoe said Thursdays between 12 and 3, though we don't need to use the whole time of 12 and 3, but anytime within that frame. That's also something we can decide on when we have more members
Let's
present.
make Yeah, let's make sure that date and time gets into the minutes so that we remember that. There's some Thursday from 12 to 3. And I think if there's a specific topic or topics that we want to make sure we talk about, if there's something on our minds that we want to discuss, maybe that would be a good time to do it. I can add a little bit of local group information. So, and if anybody here is interested in joining this group, let me know. There's a group forming that is specifically interested in trying to get UMass to do the right thing. And it's residents. I did not instigate this, but it's residents, faculty members, retired faculty, me. They're looking for alumni and students. The Sunrise group at UMass is involved. So that might even be something to get the schools involved in, see if there's anybody that's still interested in that. Since UMass is committed right now to not doing the right thing. We can talk more about that later if anyone's interested, but there is a group that's forming. If you're interested in that, I think the thing to do is contact me and I'll put you in touch. Next meeting is September 1 at 5 o'clock. So, but I'm sure there'll be meetings after that. So if anyone's listening to this and you're interested, I just noticed my name. Why does my name say Michael Ising? I didn't notice that before. Let me fix that. Oh, because I used Michael's link in the email. That's why I got an email forwarded to me. There we go. Sorry. But if anybody wants to contact me, I can put you in touch with that group. All right. Heat pumps, I don't have a lot to add, except that I know, Stephanie, you want to let folks know what's going on there and that you're still looking?
Sure. So I was going to, I have an updates for later. I can talk about the info session, but the skinny right now is just that we had 15 homes that were looking to do complete whole home conversions to heat pumps. 3 have been completed and 4 have decided to just do partial heat pumps. So now that leaves us with 11, it leaves us with 8 that are currently still in the process. So we only have 11 total instead of the 15 that we had. And then I think we are, I'll talk about it in my updates. We're going to try to do more of a concerted effort to get people on board into the program. So I'll talk more about that later.
Yeah, it'll be made marginally more difficult by the fact that the federal tax credits are going away, I believe, at the end of this year.
End of December 31st, 2025, they end.
Yep. Which was
So
not
the partial installations they sort of fall out of the program.
Yeah, because we, our incentive funding was for whole home conversions, and we had allocated enough for 30 home conversions, full home conversions. So, we may adjust at the end of the program I'm not really sure. We'll just have to sort of revisit the use of those funds if we don't get 30, how we might go back and allocate some for some partials. I'm not really sure what we'll do.
So 8 are still in the process. Do you know like
Correct.
what steps of the process they're at?
They're all at different
Okay.
phases and stages because they're, each home is different, but they, they're all going through, they had to do the weatherization. Some needed to do weatherization. It's just taking longer. CET said the process is taking longer than they anticipated for each home, really.
Okay.
So, it's pretty, they're doing this pretty much in depth. So,
Well, that's a pretty good start. 3 homes completed and 8 more still to go. Maybe not as high as we had hoped, but still a respectable number for the first time.
yeah, and we have, there's definitely some interest, some recent interest. And I think now that people are back from vacation, there'll probably be an uptick in the number of people that are interested in pursuing this, especially because there's additional utility incentives that may be coming down the pike that have been announced for people who have heat pumps. They'll get a reduced electricity rate.
Oh, yeah.
And I've heard that it's on the magnitude of like 4 cents per kilowatt hour, which is pretty significant. So, and there would be a reduction in their rate. So
Yeah.
that's definitely an incentive. Except
Yes.
it hasn't been finalized yet and there's no formal information. So I'm stating that that is the buzz that's out there, but that's not formalized yet. So I don't want people to think that it's absolutely happening. It's just what we've heard so far. And certainly when we know,
Oh.
we'll make sure people, are aware.
The heat pump community seems to think it's a done deal.
Yeah, that was my impression as part
Yeah.
of the heat pump community.
But it hasn't been, but I've been in meetings with other communities and other programs, and trying to get the information from the utility has been very difficult.
Oh, because that
So-
doesn't exist yet. That I'm aware is not available yet. I think it'll be available later this fall. I don't remember the date, but there was a date by which, and the difficulty there that everybody needs to know, this is really important, is that you don't just get the rate, you have to apply.
Yep.
You must apply with evidence that you have a heat pump. And you don't have to have a whole home heat pump.
Yep.
You just need to have a heat pump. So that's.
Yeah, we should do outreach on that to help people. That's
Yes, I was thinking.
Yeah, that would be huge.
When we have, and again, when we have the specifics, we
Right.
need to have the specific information.
That should go
Yep.
on our dashboard. It should go.
Oh,
on-
it will. There's no question. We've already had discussions about that.
Excellent, excellent. Good. Okay, so on to the education series. Oh my, I haven't thought about this myself because I was on vacation. So let's see. I don't have it up right now. Do we have any? I sort of feel like we want to have a full house to really get into this. So maybe we should just, I'll bring up the spreadsheet if I can find it. ECAC education series, there it is. Let me drag this over here and close that, bring this over here and then share it. Share, there we go. I'll share this just as a reminder of sort of where we were. But I think we're gonna have to wait till the next meeting to really get into this. I would like to make sure we schedule something sometime soon. Just to get started, we had some ideas. So I think what I'm gonna do is before the next meeting, I'm gonna write myself a note to send this out to everybody. Send out before next meeting. We'll maybe put this in the minutes as well to send out a link to the education series spreadsheet for discussion at next meeting, when we will hopefully have a fuller house. But just to go through these quickly, we had sort of divided them into actions. The sorts of things we've been doing are mostly individual actions that residents can do. Buying cars, installing heat pumps. It might be nice to have a whole meeting dedicated to the Superfund bill. Maybe we can get Mindy or Joe here. I think that was a really good one. Maybe I'll just start working on that. If anybody is interested in any of these and you want to actually work on it, please feel free. Maybe just let me or Stephanie know. Maybe someone to talk about nuclear power, about these small modular reactors that have gotten a lot of attention lately. That's for this. That could be either in an activism way or in a just what do you need to know about them. So there were sort of three categories: individual actions, encouraging activism, and just informational. We did the board. We did a. Well, I did. There was a Barstow farm tour this summer that was not official, but it's not an official town thing, but I think it was interesting. We could do UMass power plant tour. Get the town, get people to sign up from the town if they're interested. Anyone have any thoughts on this, or should we come back to it next week?
I think come back to it.
Come back to it.
Yeah. There's some good ideas here. I think, yeah, I need to mull them over a little bit more.
Activism fair, that's right, we had that one in there.
Or do you want to keep that under the advisory and support, or do you, or I mean, I'm sorry, or do you want to make that like a separate
that should
agenda
be
item?
education series should be outreach, or it should be separate. Why is it under advisory and support? It should be.
No, it's under education
education
and
and
outreach.
outreach,
I just read it wrong.
Yeah,
where it
yeah.
was. Do you want
yeah,
it a separate item though?
why don't we make that a separate item next time? And put it at the top somewhere. I stopped sharing, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. So going on, the UMass climate plan. I don't really have anything new to say. I'll just give a recap that UMass had promised to go to carbon zero in the near future. Instead, their CO2 output continues to increase. The main problem is that they have a cogeneration plant, which is a remarkable, amazing piece of technology that is a 75% efficient power plant that uses, as much as it can of the energy it burns to provide both heat and power for the campus. But because it has that thing, it's sort of wedded to it. It's still fairly new in its life. It's like 20 years old, maybe not even 20 years old. And those things can go, half a century. So they've invested in this thing that they're loath to give up, and that is keeping them from transitioning. They are trying to transition currently. Their idea was to burn renewable diesel, which, as we've talked about before, is a disaster for the planet and is not truly renewable in any sense. Depending on exactly what product they use, and they don't really know where it comes from, it can be worse than burning fossil fuel. If it's being made from soy or palm oil from Brazil or Indonesia, for example. Everyone claims to make it from waste, but there's not enough waste in the world to support that claim. So it's just not reasonable. So it's what they're doing. They burned 100,000 gallons of it last winter. They're going to burn another 100,000 gallons of it this winter. No, they burned 70,000 last winter with 30,000 left over, which they're now burning in the power plant because they've converted their power plant, which used to burn methane, to a dual fuel can burn diesel or it can burn methane, which is bad for the valley because it means the air will get worse. When you burn diesel fuel instead of methane, you emit more pollutants. It's the same. It's a little bit more CO2, but it's a lot more other pollutants. So this is a bad idea. And the main problem is that doing the right thing is prohibitively expensive. Doing it immediately, they claim, is prohibitively expensive. And it is very, very expensive. But there are other things they're trying to do now. They did apply recently. I don't know if I announced this since last time. There was a call from the state for grants for state agencies specifically to lead, who want to lead the decarbonization, who want to show up, who want to be leaders in decarbonization. There was a state grant available. I think the amount of money was tens of millions, and they basically applied for a giant plug of it, maybe even most or all of it, to install a air to steam heat pump, an air sourced steam heat pump. Let me say that correctly. And a big one that might actually help, because the idea is that they have their heat. The big problem they have is that their heat is steam generated. And steam is not something you can easily make with a heat pump. You can make hot water hot enough to heat with, but they would have to change the radiators and the piping all over campus. Every single room would need renovating, and they don't. That's what's so expensive, that they won't do it. So if they can get a heat pump that makes steam, they think that might be the way out. So they have put in for, something like $40 million. I forget what it is, a few tens of millions of dollars to install a single, I think one big industrial strength steam making heat pump. So that's a start. It's something, but it's 2 orders of magnitude short in the amount of money they need to actually do the whole transition correctly. So and maybe it's not that bad if this works. I don't know. It's the best thing I've seen them suggest so far. So I hope they get the money. But we'll see.
This would be a ground source heat pump, presumably?
No,
No?
that's what they're not doing.
Well, but the heat pump that can make steam,
Yeah,
that would be air source, or?
yeah.
Whoa.
Pretty sure that's air source. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself next time. I got the technical information from them, but I haven't cracked it open yet. I'm pretty sure it's an air sourced industrial strength steam making heat pump. They don't want to dig.
It's crazy.
They would need to dig up enormous parts of campus to lay, if they were going, the ground source part is prohibitive for them. They don't have enough ground. They claim they do, but I think they don't have enough ground that's easy to get at, and that's, so I'm pretty sure this is air source. I will correct myself next week if I'm wrong about that.
I thought, like at Amherst College and Smith College, most of the digging was digging to replace pipelines, and the actual drilling for the ground source heat pump systems was a smaller footprint that you then subsequently, you put it under a parking lot or under a playing field. And so once the work is done, it basically disappears.
Yeah, the problem is they have a much larger campus than Smith and many more buildings, right? So that's a big part of the problem. And they would need, I know that they were originally going to replace all the piping. Yeah, I don't think it's ground source. I think it's
Interesting.
I could be wrong.
So the heat pump, it produces steam from electricity,
Yeah.
or
So it makes
Interesting.
a refrigerant hot enough to heat water to steam.
wow. That's yeah. That's I didn't know that was efficient. I didn't know it was efficient to heating it up to steam level. That's interesting.
I heard them say COP of 3 during the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, I got sent the information, but I haven't cracked it open yet. So if I'm wrong, I can give a report on that next week. Why don't I?
It sounds good.
I'll
Yeah, I'm
report on
definitely
that next
interested.
week. So that I don't see anything else that's stupid. Report on UMass heat pump.
Do you happen to know if that also provides cooling during the summer seasons?
I asked that question and I don't recall the answer. I think
Okay.
it's got to be no because they're using steam.
My understanding is the water systems can only provide heating and not cooling.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it can, but
I thought
they
could
do some cooling with water.
Huh.
already-
Well, for the home systems at least that are
yeah, not for the home,
steam, you can't.
right.
Right.
No, they are doing some cooling on campus with water, if I remember right, but they don't, it's not usually something, yeah, I don't know. I have the information, I will look it up for next time. Ask me next time. I don't know is the right answer. Let me stop BSing. All right, so that's where UMass is. Sorry to drag that on again, but I wanted to remind folks. Draft solar bylaw roof.
Nothing from me, but I don't know if Stephanie has anything to share.
Yeah, so I mean, they've just been continuing on with their edits, but it gets preempted by other business, so it was not reviewed at the last CRC meeting. Their next meeting is tomorrow. I can't attend. It's not likely that it will come up, so will be probably the following meeting that they'll continue review.
So Emily, if as a new member, if you're interested in hearing or keeping track of the solar bylaw, the CRC meeting is the place to go just to hear what they're doing. But Steve has been our liaison, who's been reporting back on that.
Did we discuss whether the Amherst draft or the Amherst solar bylaw would be preempted by the newer state regulations?
There was some discussion about that at not the last meeting, prior meeting. And it was, I think the question was, do we continue with something that may get changed or impacted by the state? My recommendation was just keep doing what we're doing, because if things change, then what happens is you just edit the bylaw to reference
Yeah.
where the state, rules and regulations sort of preempt or apply. So I just think, given that they've come this far, to continue, because it's not sure, it's not clear which process will be completed first. So
If ever, yeah.
Okay, then transportation, Tony. Anything?
No update.
Okay. And the only regional and state policy updates I have, that's the next agenda item, is just what I already said, that the statements went in, testimony went in, op-eds went in, and I don't have anything more than that. Let's see what happens next. I think that brings us to staff updates.
sure, I have a couple of things. In the order of bad news first, then the good news. The bad news is that the Valley Bike network equipment is really starting to fail because it's outdated, it's old, and we have a new vendor, and we do want to transition to new equipment. So the good news is that Amherst will be getting all new equipment and bikes and docking stations and wayfinding, I believe starting mid-September. They're going to be transitioning our stations. I haven't even told the town manager that yet, so you all are getting it firsthand. So that's pretty exciting. I'm really, I was nervous about when and how that transition would happen. But for various reasons, we have some available funding to do that. So we'll be one of the first, along with the city of Holyoke will also be getting some new equipment. I received an email about a working group that's being formed on a waste hauler pays you throw initiative. And I didn't know if any of you were interested in representing that effort because I know sometimes you discuss it. They've also reached out to DPW and I think the Board of Health has also, been invited to participate. So I would say really no more than one member should attend if you're interested of being part
Oh.
of that working group. So
Who was putting that together?
I think it's NEEP actually.
Oh,
The
this
New
is-
England,
Is it statewide?
I think so. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Just give me a second. I can't find, I was going to forward it all to you. So,
Yeah,
I'm going to forward it to all of you, but I just wanted to mention it first before I do that. So I'll send you the information and, if someone's interested, they can follow up or you can decide at the next meeting if someone wants to volunteer. You don't have to at all, actually, because there's other groups that are more directly involved with this issue than
the
all of
Zero
you.
Waste Amherst, right? That's
Yeah, but they're a resident group. This is specifically for municipalities. So this would be like an official representation by like a town committee representative, not necessarily just a resident group.
okay. I see. So that it sounds like it would be nice if somebody in this group was interested in that. I always feel like I'll do it if nobody else will, but if this isn't a topic that's interesting to you, please, then if it looks appropriate, please volunteer. Go ahead and forward that, Stephanie, and we'll talk about it next time.
I will. Just making a note to myself.
Another agenda item.
Okay. And then I wanted to just let you all know that we have another information session about the heat pump program that's coming up on September 9th. That will be from 7 to 8:30 p.m. The press release, I think, is going out, if not tomorrow, definitely Friday, but possibly tomorrow. So again, this is just to try to get more folks interested. CET will be presenting information about heat pumps and the program. We also wanted them to touch base on the fact that the federal incentive is going away at the end of the month. So our press release and other information definitely notes that. So I'll forward you the flyer for that event as well as the press release. So you all have it if you want to forward it along to, or, make note at least of the flyer. You could
And
forward
what
the
was the
flyer
date
along.
again? Can you repeat? the
September
date?
9th, September 9th. And it's from 7 to 8:30 p.m. It will
Where?
be, the link will be in the community calendar.
Zoom.
So, or you could also go to the CET's program website. So it's the Amherst Heat Pump Program on the CET website. That's kind of the official, because they're the program administrator. So they officially have all the information. So, I think that's it for now.
Okay, and that's Zoom only?
Zoom only, yes.
Okay,
It's not in person.
all right, good. Okay, that's important to know about, and it's coming right up. So this goes along with, when you reach out to your communities, please reach out and let people know about the heat pump program. Everyone, so that you're reach out to your networks and let them know that there's this opportunity. It's worth a few thousand more dollars, up to 3,000, I think, right?
It's so the town's additional incentive is $3,500.
3,500, yeah.
So, but then there's also the federal incentive, at least until the end of December,
Yeah.
is up to $2,000. It's like 30% of the project cost.
To a
Up
maximum of,
to a maximum of $2,000 per heat pump.
but it's a tax credit, so.
It's a
you
tax
have to
credit,
make
correct?
them to pay
Yes.
taxes.
Correct. But the
Uh,
town's is
and there's-
actually basically a rebate.
And Mass Save offers an additional rebate on top.
And
of it.
Mass Save has a rebate as well.
So
So, right.
there's a lot of money available.
Right now, there is until the end of December, so
Um, okay, ECAC, is that it, Stephanie?
that's it. That's all I have for today.
ECAC member updates? Anyone have any updates? We should all, since this is Emily's first meeting, I feel like we should welcome Emily here.
Yeah.
So Emily, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Having me.
Did Emily give a little introduction to themselves?
We didn't let her do that. Should we do that, Stephanie? We didn't put that on the agenda.
You don't have to. I think it's really okay with updates to let Emily introduce herself.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Emily? And
Sure.
maybe we should go around quickly and introduce ourselves, but go ahead in the way of an update.
My name is Emily Dorr. I moved to Amherst about a year ago, but I'm from Massachusetts originally. I guess I said last time I'm a social scientist. I'm a postdoc research fellow at Harvard School of Public Health right now for about another year. But my husband is a UMass faculty member, and we have a 6-year-old daughter that just started first grade. And yeah, so my research interests are health disparities, especially social policies effects on health. So climate is really a personal interest of mine, and I'm already learning so much from you all, and I'm really excited to learn even more and try to be helpful in some way. So thanks for welcoming me onto the committee. I'm excited.
Thanks, Emily, and welcome again. Why don't we go around and introduce ourselves all as part of the ECAC member updates? Steve, you want to go ahead?
Sure. Hi, Emily. I'm Steve Roof. I've been in town, I don't know, 25 years maybe. I'm a professor at Hampshire College in Earth and Environmental Science. I do climate change research. I just got back 4 or 5 days ago from 6 weeks of doing research up in the high Arctic on the island of Svalbard. And I've been advocate for renewable energy on the Hampshire College campus. I help maintain the big solar fields that we have there, and I work with our facilities for our renewable energy procurement and other efficiency activities. And I've been on the ECAC since I think the beginning, when it was created 3 or 4 years ago, and I've worked with Stephanie and others in the town of Amherst for quite a long time.
Steve, I just want you to know that it's been in existence since 2019.
The ECAC? 2019. Wow, okay.
Mhm.
So 6 years already?
Tony?
Hi, Emily. I'm Tony. I'm a graduate student, PhD at UMass. I work with a group called Elevate, which is our energy transition institute on campus. And I've been with ECAC for about a year and a half now. I'm also interested in disparities and mostly kind of connecting. I think a lot of the disparities are caused by a lack of information sharing. I kind of want to join in order to bridge a few gaps so that we all have the same continuity about what's happening in our local environment. Welcome.
Thank you.
Andrew?
Hey, I'm Andrew. I'm a resident of Amherst. I don't have a expertise in climate. I'm just a lifelong I have a lifelong interest in policy and climate resiliency and stuff like that. So I'm kind of more of a normie. Yeah. So I'm happy to be here. Happy to have you on. And yeah, I think I've been with the committee maybe a little less than a year. I joined sometime last year.
And Stephanie, why don't you, I know you and Emily have already met, but why don't you say a few words?
Hi, Emily. So I've been with the town for many years at this point. Officially 25, but really unofficially 28. And I have had a few different roles. I started doing wetlands work, and that was my main role for 14 years. But then I simultaneously started doing some work on energy efficiency and climate change, and then sort of morphed into specifically sustainability role. So, and now have become the director of sustainability. So that's kind of my transition through time. So welcome, very happy to have you.
And Emily, we've also met, but I'm Lori. I was a faculty member at UMass in physics. I just retired. I have a lifelong interest in climate and environmentalism, but not any particular expertise in it. I've gotten very involved in the energy transition in recent years, and both policy and heat pump coaching, stuff like that, on the ground stuff. And I have a 25-year-old kid who just started the master's in nursing program at Johns Hopkins. Having left DC where she was doing harm reduction there. So I'm very glad she's out of DC right now. All right, so with that, and welcome again.
Thank you. Yes, thanks everyone for the introduction. It's nice to officially meet you all.
Okay, so the next agenda item or items for the next meeting agenda. So far I have the only new thing I think is putting the education series up front. I will have some information regarding the UMass proposal. And what else did we have?
We might hope for the Smart 3 overview by Don, if he's back in
Hopefully.
town.
Yeah, that'll
hopefully
continue.
That'll
That
continue.
just continue.
And then, of course, Tony's letter, finishing up
Yeah.
Tony's letter,
Yeah.
the letter regarding the make polluters pay. Any other agenda items we should be considering?
Let's see, did McElrath mention something about an Elevate meeting, planning
Yeah,
joint
Thursday.
meeting?
Right. We should talk about the Elevate meeting, maybe discuss, maybe talk about ideas for topics.
Do you want that as a separate item, or do you want to just do it under the usual
Let's put it
updates?
as a separate item so that it actually gets specifically discussed and reminds us all that should be thinking about that. Otherwise, it just shows up under coordination with local groups, which doesn't really say anything, right? All right. And we have no one attending today. If there's no other meetings, no other items for the agenda, we normally go on to public comment. Hopefully when we start doing education series, we'll start getting attendees again. And I also suspect that as this local group that is concerned about what UMass is doing gets up and running, we might start seeing some local attendees. We'll see. But
Oh, Lori, were you also going to say something more about the pump storage?
yeah, I have that here. That's under UMass update on the UMass. Oh wait, pump storage. Oh, that's right. I can talk more about that. Let's just put that under. I'll make myself a note. That's more for me to.
I'll put it as under the items for next meeting agenda. That can be refined.
Yeah.
That's a bill that's being considered now.
Yeah, no, this is part of the so last time we had we wrote a very quick off the cuff, like one line statement in support of pumped hydro, but it was really it was in response to defining clean energy, which left out pumped hydro. And I think there's a lot more to that story. I think what we wrote is fine, but I think there's a lot more to that story than I understood before, and I can report on that next time. I mentioned that before the meeting, Steve.
Can you
Um,
put that under somewhere under the regular
Yeah, just
items?
put that under the regular items, under maybe an act defining clean energy as a one under what is it? Regional and state policy updates. Maybe just, add it under there. Which
Yep.
will remind me to.
Yep.
I'll just make sure I talk about that, because I'm learning a lot more about that bill. I'll be talking to someone tomorrow about it. All right. So with that, and no public comment, there's no public. I think we can adjourn. Do we have a move to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
We have a second.
A second.
I think by consensus, then we can all say bye till next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.